Okay, good morning. We are in Derech Hashem. We are in the first section, the fundamentals. We're in the section of Min Hanoshi, and we are up to Os Gimel. Os Gimel, we're going to read, so Os Hey. Os Hey, he says like this, What you need to know further, Shneha Min Hanoshi, the human species, Ein Inyano Harishon, Kimosh Anu Roim, Umavchinim Oso Ata. The way that we were initially created, at least spiritually speaking, is not the same as we see ourselves now. There's a difference. Ki ulam shinoi gadol hayavo. There is a great change, a great transformation. Vu inyan cheto shel Adam Rishon. This is the sin of Adam Rishon. This notion, I don't know where this came from, but this notion, there's been this like big misnomer that has made it into many people's thinking that, in Christian thought, there's something called the original sin. That's the term they use. And, when people say Jews reject the original sin, it's true we reject the Christian version of the original sin, but the approach of definitely many of the Mekubalim, those who are mystically inclined, is that the sin of Adam did impact us in a significant way. I mean, simply reading the Chumash tells us that, right? He got kicked out of Gan Eden. Had he not been kicked out of Gan Eden, it would seem, would still be there. So clearly there was an impact. Again, we don't believe that therefore humankind is eternally damned, right? They believe that therefore there's something intrinsically broken about humankind, that nowadays when a person is born into sin. That we don't say. But is there an impact which is going to be the case until the times of Mashiach? 100%. And that's what he's telling us over here. That that the sin of Adam Rishon impact us till this day. That both humankind and the world transformed. You have to keep in mind, in his worldview, the world is created for us. We said the Rambam may disagree with that, but according to the Ramchal and many others, the God created the world for us, and therefore when we change, the world around us changes as well. Vulam prate hashinu hazeh, told the same rabbim, the changes are many. V'onedaber b'am lefanim, we're going to talk about them later, b'siyata d'shmaya, with God's help. V'nimtza shadibur b'min hanoshi v'avchana min isuav, when we talk about humankind and everything around him, kfulim, there are two levels. We could speak about humankind before the sin, and we'll also speak about humankind after the sin, as we'll explain further. Okay, let's just read one more small paragraph. So when we spoke about everything we spoke about until now, with this perfect balance between intellect and material, between going in the right direction, the wrong direction, that was all with Adam Harishon. Which was, he was made up completely of these two components, opposite components as we spoke about, Shehim HaNeshama veHaguf, the body and soul. And in existence there was the possibility of good and the possibility of bad, and critically, and humankind stood right in the middle. Right in the middle. There's a continuum of good and evil, there's a continuum of body and soul, and we are right over here, going potentially this direction or potentially that direction. And we have the free will to connect in whichever direction we want. And what should have happened was Adam should have chosen in that was good. V'yagbir nishmaso al gufo, and his soul would have overcome the body. We'll come back to those words tomorrow. V'sichlo al chamro, and his seichel, his intellect, over his physical. And then he would have been completely perfected. V'nach b'shleimus l'netzach, and he would have remained and rested in his perfection forever. So what he's alluding to over here is that according to his way of understanding things, and that is, and we'll see there's a function of the soul which we haven't yet elaborated on, which we'll elaborate on tomorrow, but that is that had Adam Harishon listened to God's command on that first day, on that Friday that he was created, then by the time Shabbos came, it would have been Shabbos forever. It would not be a one-day Shabbos and back to a Sunday, but rather it was just a few-hour challenge of listening to God, and had he done the right thing, he would have always remained in this blissful state, because the neshama would have done its thing on the body, which we'll elaborate on tomorrow, but that is what things should have looked like. Again, that Adam Rishon is in the middle between choosing good, choosing bad, he's right in the middle. The world is also in this perfect balance between good and evil. Had he made the right choice on that first day, things would have remained in this blissful state forever. Of course, as we know, things did not work out that way. Okay, we'll pick up with this tomorrow.